Hey guys, welcome in for another Monday Midday Cruise Q&A. I'm RacQuelle from MHFamilyAdventures. I hope you guys are doing well on this very cold and snowy morning or afternoon here in Ohio. I hope you guys are doing well at home. This is part 4, I believe, of our new series, our Monday Midday Cruise Q&A, and we are live today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think this will be our go-to time. I kind of played with other time frames, and I think 2 p.m. works well. We had quite a turnout last week. So I appreciate you guys popping in. Hope you guys can hear and see me okay. Let's see here. Appreciate we have a few people already popping in. Appreciate you guys being here. Let me make sure that I am live here on Facebook as well. Let's see here. Looks like I probably am. But appreciate you guys popping in for about an hour. Now for the midday cruise Q&A, this is an opportunity for you to ask me any questions that you may have about cruising. So I decided to start this series because as a cruise travel advisor, travel agency owner, as well as a cruise content creator, I get tons and tons of questions about cruising. And a lot of times as much as I try to answer all the questions that I can, sometimes it's challenging because I'm always busy with clients or I'm cruising so I'm going to start putting aside at least an hour on Mondays to answer questions that you may have as viewers, supporters, subscribers of our channel. If you are new here, I am RacQuelle from MHFamilyAdventures, and we are a cruise vlogging family. We've been on 65 cruises since 2019, and so I do kind of consider myself an expert when it comes to cruising because I've been on so many different cruises. Now, I've cruised pretty much all of the major cruise lines from Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, Holland America, Princess Cruises, Virgin Voyages, and then a few others. So pretty in tune on what's happening in the cruise world and can answer questions that you may have. So if you have any questions about cruising, you can feel free to drop those in the chat. And I'll do my best to try to get to them. So I'll spend about an hour, and I will have to stick to an hour today because tomorrow's travel day. So if you aren't subscribed to our channel, please be sure to subscribe, turn the notification bell on because I will be popping up somewhere live on Tuesday or Wednesday. So make sure you're following along so you can kind of see what's going on and where I am. So welcome in to the 52 already here. Appreciate you guys being here. Let's see who we have here. I'm trying to maneuver things. I think this will be my setup for this series because it's easy when I'm working at my desk. But let's see here. Let me go if I get these comments up on the screen. But welcome in. Let's see. We have Bubba D. Williams. Welcome in. Phil and D's Travels. We appreciate you guys being here as always. Loretta, welcome in. Landon C. Welcome in. Stacia, good afternoon to you. DT Cruiser, good afternoon. Kendra from Idaho, welcome in. Keeling's Travel says, good afternoon. We can see and hear you well. Thank you so much for letting me know that. Guys, feel free to drop any questions you may have about cruising in the chat, and I will respond. Mary Terry, welcome in. Hope you are doing well. Thanks for being here. Savvy Voyages, welcome in. Anthony on the Move, welcome in. Says, see and hear you well. Elif McKinley says, happy holiday, everyone, for those that are off. Yes, and it's funny because Mondays are actually the days that we take off from the agency, but it's been busier than... I don't know. Like our agency line is closed today. I try to limit responding to emails on Mondays as well because it's really the only day that I can try to catch up with content and other things. But it has been a very, very busy day. So, and I know everyone's not off because Ron's not off today. Welcome in, Adrian. Appreciate you being here. Keith says, are you located in New York? We are not located in New York. Our travel agency, we are located in Ohio, but we can pretty much book anyone, help anyone plan their cruise located in the United States. Hannah, welcome in. Hello to you. Quality Childcare. Lucina, we have our first question. Says, hi, I'm Port Canaveral bound. Do you have a favorite hotel there or Orlando? So if you are a new cruiser, first off, welcome in. Lucina, I think that's a new name. Please be sure you're subscribed. Port Canaveral, Orlando. My preference for the two would be to stay at Orlando Airport because the cost of the hotels are usually a lot cheaper at Orlando Airport. Now, if you guys are not familiar with Orlando, Port Canaveral, Orlando Airport is about a 45-minute drive to Port Canaveral. So I would highly recommend flying in at least the day before. You could take a shuttle from Orlando Airport or Orlando Airport area hotels over to Port Canaveral. at a cost. My personal recommendation for shuttle service would be Cruise Control Transportation. They are one of our partners. If you mention code MHFam, you'll save 10% off, but it's $25 per person each way. And they'll get you to the cruise terminal. But as far as hotels, the hotels that we tend to stay at, we've never stayed at Port Canaveral because of the cost. Now, you might be able to find a deal depending on the type of hotel that you want, but we typically stay at Orlando. Our go-to is Town Place Suites, Orlando Marriott Airport Hotel. I don't think I said that right. Town Place Suites, Orlando Airport. Also, there's a couple of the Embassy Suites is another good option there. And these are relatively priced, So Town Place Suites, you're looking at about $140 a night. Whereas if you go to Port Canaveral, depending on the time of year, you could possibly pay double. So those are our two go-to for Orlando, Port Canaveral. Port Canaveral, there is also another Marriott there. I think a Town Place Suites are that. I've seen that to be relatively inexpensive compared to the others. But just know if you stay Port Canaveral, you're going to pay a higher price usually. Hanging with the hordes, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Satin Jazz Lady says, afternoon, RacQuelle, and on the chat. Appreciate you being here. Victoria, welcome in. Felicia Bell, welcome in. And shout out to all of our channel members who are watching. Appreciate you guys being here as well. Lida Shay, welcome in. Let's see here. Ebony Nicholson says, I'm going on MSC World Europa in March. Nice. I have seen your review on them. What is your advice for a first-time cruiser and first time the Mediterranean? So I have not been on MSC World Europa yet. It's coming really soon. So stay tuned for that. But MSC, so I will be on board MSC World America, which is their sister ship. I'll be on board for the media sailing in April. But I would say for MSC, if you are a first-time cruiser with MSC, if you have not already, do your status match. So if you have cruised with other cruise lines and you have, pretty high status or like a mid-tier status between different cruise lines as well as hotels, you can do a one-time status match and you can get some additional perks for your booking. Also, with MSC, just know that it's a European cruise line. So if you've cruised with other cruise lines, some of the things that they do may seem a little bit different, or they are a little bit different because they are European based. Now, this is where MSC World America is coming in, and that's going to be more American based. But overall, I've done MSC Grandiosa in the Mediterranean. If you didn't catch that series, be sure to check that out. I would say MSC World Europa is going to have a lot more dining options than the other ships. So you're going to have dining options. You should have your dining time set. I'm just trying to think, do you have any specific questions about cruising the Mediterranean? I would say make sure you download a Google Translate app, because depending on where you cruise, they may not speak English. We cruise out of Barcelona and went to Italy and a couple other ports. And I can tell you that most people did not speak English. So you need to have some sort of translation app so that you're able to communicate. And I personally love Google Translate because you can speak and then it'll translate out loud, or so that you have audio so that you can talk to someone that way. You can also type in what you want to say and translate it in their language, and then they can read it from your phone. So I personally recommend doing that. But have a great time on board MSC World Europa. It is a beautiful ship. I'm excited to get on board. But yeah, MSC is a little different. So go in with an open mind. They have greatly improved since maybe just even a couple of years ago. They received a lot of reviews about, service, about food not being good. I can tell you that a lot of those things have changed. Now, I have not been back to the Mediterranean since, was it about a year and a half ago on MSC. So I couldn't tell you, but I can tell you that I'm boarding MSC here soon. So stay tuned for that, but have a good time. Let's see. Welcome in, Dennis. Appreciate you being here. Let's see. Here says, do they check your bags when you arrive in Costa Maya, Mexico? So you're referring to when you get off the ship, are they checking your bags? Now, the bag checking, for those of you who aren't familiar, some cruise ports will check your bags because you're not supposed to bring food off the ship and you're not supposed to take food on the ship. The reason for that is that they want to make sure that we don't bring something back from another country, like a pest or an insect or something that can cause some sort of ruckus here in the US. So they don't want you to take fruits and vegetables and, sandwiches and things off the ship into port, and then they also don't want you carrying things back onto the ship. So a lot of ports, especially in Mexico, they will have dogs sniffing to see if you have anything in your bags, and they will have you discard it before you actually go into port. Now, I can tell you the last couple of times that I was in Costa Maya, they did not have anyone set up there, but they do kind of pop up from time to time. So there's no guarantee that they won't. Just know that you can't take certain things off the ship. You can't take certain things on the ship. Cozumel, for sure, they have them outside right before you enter the port, where they're going to check your bags, and they're checking for all kinds of things. So they're checking to make sure you don't have any, contraband. They're going to check to make sure you don't have any food, make sure you don't have any weapons, things like that. So yeah, just play it safe. Don't pack anything that you shouldn't. And if you do, just know that they're going to have you discard it. But welcome into the 79 of you guys watching. If you wouldn't mind hitting the thumbs up, I'm RacQuelle from MHFamilyAdventures, and this is our Monday Midday Cruise Q&A, where you can ask me anything that you may want to know about cruising, if you have any specific questions for your upcoming sailing, and I will do my best to try to answer. Now, if it's something I can't answer, I will try to get the answer for you, and I'll bring it back to you the following Monday. So if you have any questions, drop those in the chat. Welcome in, Gloria. Theodora, welcome in. Says, good afternoon. Looking to get on MSC live in Maryland. Is that what this says? How convenient is it getting in and out of Brooklyn Port? Now, I personally have not cruised out of Brooklyn. I've cruised out of Manhattan. I can tell you that a lot of people that, like a lot of my clients that cruise out of Brooklyn, they wind up staying in Jersey because the cost of the hotels can be pretty expensive. And the shuttles can be expensive. The last time I checked, there were only 2 hotels that actually offered transfer service to Brooklyn. So it's kind of tricky getting transfer services. So you will more than likely have to use an Uber or use some sort of ride sharing service to get there. And it can be expensive because I mean, you're gonna have a high cost. And taxis, obviously they're metered there. So it just depends on where you're staying. I honestly couldn't tell you how convenient the port is. I can tell you that the Manhattan port is pretty easy. It's right there by the bay, and it was easy getting there, getting on the ship, no issues at all. I can't really speak on Brooklyn because I have not sailed from there yet. But let's see here. We'll make sure I'm answering everything. So you live in Maryland. You're trying to get on MSC, probably MSC Meraviglia is what I'm guessing. Yeah, honestly, I couldn't tell you. I would recommend flying in the day before for sure. I do have clients that stay in Jersey and then they'll commute. And I even have some that have taken like the train over to Brooklyn rather than spending, I think last time I talked to a client, they were looking at paying about $100 or so just to get to the cruise terminal. Whereas if they took the train and then had a short walk from wherever the train exits to the cruise terminal, like it was a couple, like maybe $20 or so for their family. So a lot cheaper if you are willing to take public transportation. And I've also heard that the parking there can be very expensive, and MSC does not offer transfer services. Last time I checked, they do not there. So you will more than likely have to use a ride share. Let's see here. Hanging with the horse says, do you think Reverend Dr. E will be the cruise director on MSC World America? I have a sneaky suspicion. If you guys aren't familiar with Reverend Dr. E, he was one of the most popular cruise directors on board Carnival Cruise Line. And he transitioned to MSC probably a year ago or so. And I actually sailed with him with a group in July on MSC Seashore. And he's an amazing cruise director. I know right now he's currently on vacation. And so there's some suspicions that maybe he's on vacation because he's gearing up for MSC World America. So I don't know. I don't have any insider information on that. I'm hoping that Reverend Dr. E is the cruise director on board MSC World America, but we'll find out soon. So stay tuned for that. I will be on board for the media sailing, which is taking place April 9th through the 12th. So I will be bringing some exclusive content. So make sure you have the notification bell on because I will be going live doing a full narrated walking tour of MSC World America. And I will also be on board for the U.S. inaugural. So stay tuned for that. Let's see. Mary Terry says, have you had the opportunity to have dinner and show on the railroad? If so, how was it? No, I have not. And so Mary Terry is speaking of the Royal Railway. I think that's what it's called, which is on board Utopia of the Seas. It is a new specialty dining option for Royal Caribbean. I can tell you that I did just hear that they're going to be adding this on Allure of the Seas. If you are If you guys are familiar with Allure of the Seas, we actually just released a series on Allure of the Seas. It's undergoing a dry dock, and they're actually adding that on board Allure of the Seas. But it is a specialty dining option. The pricing can be pretty steep. I personally have not tried it, but I can tell you, Phil and D's Travel Spree. If you guys go over to their channel, I think they're still in the chat. They did have that experience, and it looked wonderful. The pricing for me is just a little bit out of my price point. I think when I looked at it before first sailing, it was like $140 per person. Just not really my style to pay that kind of money for specialty dining. But again, I have not tried it. I've heard great reviews about it overall, though. So there are quite a few vloggers that have experienced that. Oh, and Phil and Dee answered that question. Thank you. We were on board the same sailing, and they were able to get in. I couldn't get in, and yeah, $75 is actually a really good price point. I probably would pay that for that, but yeah. Let's see here. Keith says, in the Bahamas on MSC's private island, are there mobile scooters or wheelchair rentals? So good question, Keith. So if you guys are not familiar with MSC's private island, it is MSC Ocean Key. It's one of our favorites. It is not one of the islands that's really done up. It's a nature reserve. And so they are growing lots of trees. It was actually a dump site, and they cleaned it up years ago, and just trying to preserve the wildlife and the ocean life there near the island. And so they do not have scooters or wheelchairs for rent. However, if you brought on your own wheelchair scooter, you can use it on the island. They have plenty of sidewalks that are accessible. Now, you won't be able to get down to the main beach with your wheelchair scooter, but you can get pretty close to it because there are sidewalks, and there's even pavilions that I've seen people with wheelchairs and scooters kind of hang out in those pavilions near the beach. They will have some wheelchair or beach wheelchairs available. Those are first come, first serve. You do not rent those. So if you are in need of a wheelchair or scooter, you will have to bring your own. And that's the case for any cruise. Just so anyone in the chat that's watching or viewers watching, if you require any accessibility features, or if you're going to bring on a wheelchair or scooter, you need to make sure that you either have an accessible cabin or you've communicated with the cruise line that you will be bringing one on board. That way they can make sure that it fits into your cabin, or if you require any other assistance, they can provide that to you. So yeah, you can take your own mobile scooter off, your wheelchair, or like I said, they do have the beach wheelchairs that are available on a first come, first serve basis. And they only have a few of them. So you'd want to get off early to have access to those. Let's see here. Matthew Hankerson, is boarding MSC the same as Carnival? For the most part, it is. The difference though is MSC it depends on the ship. MSC for the most part does not allow you to select your arrival time. So when you make your booking, usually on your booking, it'll already assign you a boarding time. Whereas with Carnival, you select your boarding time 14 days, 16 days, depending on your loyalty status. You'll select your boarding time in advance. MSC just randomly assigns that to you. Now, for certain ships, I've learned that once you go in and do your online check-in, it might allow you to change that. But for the most part, they're going to assign you a time. Now, as far as the actual boarding process, it's pretty much the same thing. They're going to have you get in line. They'll have, depending on the port, they'll have signs with the times for you to arrive. You'll just stand there and they'll escort you on. I can tell you that MSC really doesn't hold to the times as much as like Carnival does. Sometimes Carnival does, sometimes they don't. But like I've literally had like a 2 p.m. MSC time and I've gotten on at 11 o'clock. So I wouldn't advise you to go to the port early, because just my luck or just your luck, you'll go and they'll tell you no. But I've had luck going and not having any issues by not following that time. And usually it's a pretty quick process getting on the ship with MSC. The last few times I never had to wait like in a waiting area to board. It's usually you go through security, you go check in, show your passport or birth certificate, and then they have you go on immediately. So pretty quick, easy process, but just know that they will assign you a boarding time. Let's see here. Michelle Lee says, I would like to become a travel agent. So can you give me advice and tell me if you started out on your own? Sorry, I hate that this cuts off the comments. If you started out on your own or with another company when you started. So Michelle, I do have a couple of live streams on our YouTube channel that kind of talks about this. I want to kind of keep this live stream to cruising. Yes, I am a cruise travel agent and we own our own travel agency, Major Adventures Travel. Just to kind of answer it quickly, I do have a host agency. My host agency is KHM Travel Group. If you are looking to start up, I would say do your own due diligence to figure out which host agency is going to work for you. And so I have my business. I operate it the way that I want to. And KHM, my host agency, is there to help support as far as providing me with like errors and emissions insurance, providing me with professional development. They give me access to the supplier so that I can, make bookings and things. You can go completely independent, but it just depends on your style. I do eventually plan to go independent because working with the host agency, you do give them a small portion of your commission depending on the host agency and your sales. But it's nice to have that built-in support, especially if you are just starting up. I've personally found my host agency to be amazing, very supportive, and that's why I'm still with them. But I do think I could probably do this on my own and not have to give, 5 to 10% commission to them. So yeah, do your own due diligence. But I do have a couple of live streams on our YouTube channel that kind of talks through how I became how we started up our own travel agency. There are different types of host agencies. There's some where you're not really in control of things. They kind of tell you when you need to work, what you need to name your business, this and that. Mine's not like that. I pretty much do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. And they're just there as a support. I absolutely love it. So, and yeah, it's a great industry to get in. And you could really grow, especially if you're on social media. It's really been a game changer for our agency. Let's see here. Hanging with the Horse says, we would love to do longer cruises, but my husband works online, lots of video calls. Do you think Starlink would be reliable enough to work from the ships? If he's dependent now, if you guys have watched our vlogs, you guys probably noticed that my husband is not always with us. And it's for that reason, really, that's really the reason. He works remotely. But because internet's unpredictable, he doesn't want to be in a situation where he's needing to work or needing to be on a video call and can't do that. So that's why a lot of times he's not with us, because the Wi-Fi on the internet, on the ships, is unreliable. I mean, it just depends on your location. It depends on all things. I will tell you that Starlink, for those of you who are new, Starlink is a new internet provider that most cruise lines are going with because it offers faster service, better service too. And I can tell you that it's been a lot better than when I first started cruising. For the most part, like, I can work using the Starlink, but I also don't have to do video calls, video chats, things like that. I'm strictly just needing to access the internet to make bookings and things like that. I can't say whether it's reliable enough. I can tell you that my husband doesn't think it is, and that's why he doesn't cruise with us as much, because he needs the video capability, and it just really depends. I was on, what sailing was I on? I think I was on Allure of the Seas, Royal Caribbean, and the first day I couldn't get on the Wi-Fi. So it really just depends. But thank you so much, Ella, for subscribing. We appreciate your support. We have 121 watching. If you guys aren't subscribed, please consider subscribing. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers this year. And if you don't know who I am, I'm RacQuelle from MHFamilyAdventures. We are a cruise vlogging family, and this is our Monday Midday Cruise Q&A, where we go live on Mondays to just answer any cruise questions you may have. So it might just seem like a whole bunch of scattered thoughts and questions, but it's answering any questions that you may have. I've been on 65 cruises, preparing to go on my 66th cruise. So pretty knowledgeable as far as cruising. We also operate, as I just mentioned, a travel agency that focuses solely on cruises, Major Adventures Travel. So if you're looking to book a cruise, plan a cruise, feel free to reach out to us. Let's see here. Just scrolling. Let's see. Deborah says, that's good to know. I have unknowingly taken sandwiches off the ship. Sometimes you can get away with it. Sometimes, they'll have the dogs there to take those back. Welcome in, Owen. Appreciate you watching from Facebook. On the Go with Yellow, welcome into you as well. Welcome in, Kim Davis. Says, so glad I found your live today. Well, we appreciate you being here. Landon C says, thank you for this. Says, in my experience, Brooklyn Port is a little crazy. Definitely get to the port a little early due to traffic going. Thank you so much for that information. Again, like, I have not. I've cruised from most cruise ports, but Brooklyn is not one of them. And honestly, I think MSC is the only, if I'm thinking, maybe NCL. There's not a lot of ships leaving from the Brooklyn port, more leave from the Manhattan cruise terminal. So I have not experienced that yet, because I've already cruised MSC Meraviglia, and that's the only ship that I'm thinking of that leaves Brooklyn. And we cruised Meraviglia out of Miami or Port Canaveral 2 years ago. Denisha Austin, welcome in, says, good afternoon. Regarding bringing food on board, Going on my first MSC, will I be able to bring packaged food, rum cake from Nassau? Yes. So MSC will not allow you to board the ship like on embarkation day with food unless you have like a medical waiver or you have contacted the guest access or special needs department to let them know that you have special diet and then they've approved you to carry on food. So they will confiscate things. It just depends because like I've had some guests that have been able to carry on snacks and chips and things that were prepackaged and closed and it not be an issue. It really just depends on who's operating the x-ray machines. But if you are ever trying to get back on the ship with like open container food, they will not allow that. So meaning if you get off and go get some conch fritters in Nassau, they won't allow that back on. But the rum cakes for sure, because I do it every time I go to Nassau. So yeah, you can the packaged rum cakes that aren't open, it'll just go through the x-ray machine. You're good to go. So that's not a problem. And if you guys want to know what Denisha's talking about, Nassau has some of the best rum cake. If you go to the Bahamas Rum Cake Factory, it's my all-time favorite rum cake. And I'm in Nassau probably 10 to 12 times, if not more, per year. And I almost always go there whenever I visit. Let's see here. Welcome in to Brantley. It says, what's the best cruise for teens leaving out of Galveston? So you don't have a whole lot of options, honestly, out of Galveston. I would say for teens, obviously, Carnival, Royal Caribbean are going to be your best options. MSC Cruise Line will start cruising out of Galveston. Is it November this year? They're going to have a ship leaving out of Galveston, but primarily out of Galveston, you're going to have currently, I think, NCL, Carnival, Royal Caribbean. Those are the main ones. Carnival Royal, you really can't go wrong with. Carnival Breeze would be a great option that offers 4 and 5 night sailings going to Mexico. You're pretty much only going to get Mexico, though, leaving from Galveston if you're looking for a shorter cruise. You might get like Mahogany Bay or trying to think what else. There's a couple other ports that you might get on a longer sailing, but if you're looking for something short, 4 or 5 nights, you're pretty much going to Costa Maya, Cozumel, Progreso. But Carnival Breeze would probably be my first go for if you're looking for a shorter cruise. Carnival Jubilee, which is one of Carnival's newest ships. It is the newest ship for Carnival. The XL class, amazing, has a roller coaster, all kinds of fun things on board. I would say that would be a great option. Royal Caribbean has a couple of ships currently. I believe Harmony of the Seas is still cruising from Galveston. It is one of their larger ships, but I would say just thinking about our teens, they prefer Carnival over Royal. So just depends on what your teens like, but you're going to find that both cruise lines offer amazing amenities for teens. They have the teens clubs that are included. They're going to have the arcade, pools, water slides, all of that fun stuff. So you really can't go wrong. Let's see here. Lori says, what is the name of my host agency? My host agency is KHM Travel Group. But guys, please do your own due diligence before you decide to sign with the host agency, because there are different host agencies out there depending on what you're looking for, what you need. I can tell you that I selected KHM because their commission split was a lot better than a lot of the other ones that I researched. Just the reviews. If you go to a web page called hostagencyreviews.com, you can check out the reviews for some of the other host agencies available and just kind of go with what works for you. I also went with KHM because I am in Ohio and that's where their headquarters are located. So I kind of wanted something close to home if I needed it. And like I said, I love them. I'm to the point now where, because I have amazing relationships with my suppliers, with the cruise lines, that I don't necessarily need to continue with the host, but it is nice to have, someone to kind of back you and help support when needed. So, Dennis says, we love Dr. E. If he's on there, you will love it. Yes, we love Dr. E. Thank you, Phil and D. Reese says, enjoy your content. Would you recommend Carnival or NCL for a cruise to Bermuda? It depends on your vibe. Personally, NCL is not my vibe. NCL is very, for me, a little bit slow paced. I like to have a lot more action whenever I cruise. So I would personally pick Carnival or even Royal over NCL. But there are some people that want the more laid back vibe with NCL. And they also have the drinks Wi-Fi with their More at Sea. It's not free at sea anymore. Their More at Sea program where you get like 150 minutes of Wi-Fi, you get drinks, you get one specialty dining. So people like that inclusions. And right now, guys, NCL is actually offering kids sail free, which they don't ever do. So they're offering kids sail free, I think, through the 19th. And you can apply a Cruise First certificate if you aren't familiar with that. Thank you so much, TLC Speaks Light and Travel at 60 Plus. Thank you so much for subscribing. We appreciate that. Lost my train of thought. it just goes. What was I saying? This is where I need my husband because I'm like, what did I say? It'll come back to me. But yeah, I would say Carnival's probably, I would probably go with Carnival. Oh, NCL. So NCL right now they're offering their cruise first certificates where you can get a $500 certificate for $250. So where this is nice is you can only apply it to new bookings, new deposits. So for instance, if you're looking for a 7-night cruise on NCL and you're a family of 4, you would normally pay like a $125 deposit per person. If you get the cruise next certificate, which you can purchase online, apply it to your booking, have your travel advisor apply it to your booking, you're pretty much saving $250 on your booking if you do it that way. So that's through, I believe, February 19th. Welcome in, Reese says, I really enjoy your Oh, I already read that one, didn't I? Welcome in, Kalia from Facebook. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate everyone that's watching on Facebook. Welcome in, Tammy Scott. Appreciate you being here. Patricia Travels with PNB. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. Kalia has a question. I'm taking my first Carnival cruise in November. On port days, is the ship open if you don't want to spend all day on the port? Yeah, guys, that's something a lot of people don't realize. You do not have to get off the ship. So even if you dock, I mean, I encourage you, especially if you are a new cruiser, I do encourage you to at least get off and explore the port. But you don't have to get off the ship. Now, a lot of people will decide to, not a lot of people, some people will decide to stay on the ship because they want to take advantage of some of the amenities that the ship will offer while it's not crowded. So I can tell you on Carnival, people like to stay on board for lunch because they want to get to Guy's Burgers before there's a long line. People want to take advantage of the adults only Serenity deck where you can go and hang out. There might be a jacuzzi depending on the ship. Some people might even get spa treatments and things. So a lot of people do decide to stay on for the ports so that they can take advantage of the ship being not as crowded. But I'd say, if you're a first-time cruiser, try to get off and at least explore the port area. You don't have to book an excursion. That's also a misconception. People feel like you have to book excursions and things, and you don't. You can get off and explore. You can take a taxi somewhere. Most cruise ports will have shopping, bars, maybe a couple of restaurants right there in port. So hope you have a great time. And we have 144 people watching. If you guys are just now popping in, I'm RacQuelle from MHFamilyAdventures, and this is our Monday Midday Cruise Q&A, where I answer all of your cruise questions. So if you have questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. And if you would not mind hitting that thumbs up for us, that just tells the algorithm that you guys are interested in this live stream, and it'll help push it out to others so that they can view it later and maybe join us for another Monday Midday Cruise Q&A. So we appreciate that. Let's see here. MNT Living It, thank you so much for being here. Let's see. Autobot Diva, welcome in, says, will you do a packing vlog for Jo Marie? She's older now. Do you have a list for her? I'm making a short list for my youngest. So if you guys don't know, Jo Marie is her daughter. She's 9 now. Yeah, she's 9. As far as our packing, guys, we just pack whatever, honestly. And that's why I have not really done a packing vlog. We did do one packing vlog where we worked with, oh my gosh, luggage company. Can't think of it right now. Not Takeoff Luggage. Level 8. We work with Level 8. So you can check out that where we kind of gave some tips on packing. As far as Jo Marie, she is the one that loves to pack. So maybe one day we will have her share how she packs. But we're pretty simple with it. But yeah, we'll try to make that something we'll do during our next cruise. Let's see here. Satin Jazz Lady, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Says, if a cabin is booked for 2 with deposits only, and one person finds out they can't go before a final payment is due, what are the cabin options for the remaining person who still wants to go? Double occupancy. And it depends on the cruise line. So for the most part, if you book as 2 guests and the second guest decides not to go, pretty much most cruise lines are charging double occupancy. So if that person can't go and they cancel off, then you're stuck paying double price. It is not. And I've actually had a client not too long ago that I don't know. Some things I just feel like I shouldn't have to explain, but then my husband says, maybe you do need to explain everything, but I'm just not in that business of breaking things down like that all the time. Where I had a situation where there were 2 guests and they split the total of the cruise, and one decided they couldn't go. The other person that paid in full thought because they paid in full that they were still able to go. No, you can't. You now have to pay. So that's the thing. If you're ever booking and splitting the cost with somebody, you have to be mindful of that. If they cancel, either you're going to have to cancel too, or you're going to have to pay double occupancy. So that's what would happen. That person would be canceled off the booking. Their taxes, fees, port expenses will be removed from the booking, gratuities or anything like that. And then that first person on the booking will have to cover the rest of it or cancel. So yeah, so be cautious on who you book with, because if they cancel, then you're kind of screwed. But again, it depends on the cruise line. You could possibly, if it was like NCL, if you were booked in a double cabin and that person cancels, you could possibly see about trying to find a solo cabin that might be cheaper, but you're still having to pay, a little bit more because you're by yourself. Let's see here. Theodora says, going to San Juan with a 10-year-old, 4-year-old, 71-year-old. What excursions would you recommend? Walking tours, Old San Juan. Okay, so for the 71-year-old, depending on how mobile they are, you have to keep in mind that San Juan is very hilly. Very hilly, and there's a lot of like cobblestone and uneven paths. So depending, I would not recommend a walking tour because you will be hiking some to get wherever you need to go. Now you can catch like a cab for pretty cheap to get to like the forts. Once you get to the forts, it's not as bad. So you could do like a walk around the forts, things like that. There are some beaches within driving distance. I'm trying to think. Escambron Beach is one that I'm thinking of that's near the port. You could go there. They have amazing shore snorkeling. But Old San Juan, once you get into it, it is pretty walkable, other than, like I said, getting into it with the hills and things. So I would recommend, if you're going to visit Old San Juan, to possibly take a taxi to the center, and then it's kind of smooth sailing from there. There's also a lot of kiosks that they'll set up outside the port. So if you wanted to just kind of shop and browse and get some souvenirs, you could do that as well. I personally, with a 71-year-old, again, depending, because there are some 71-year-olds that are more mobile than I am, but depending, I would probably recommend some sort of bus tour that will take you to the spots, and then you can kind of get off and explore on your own. Let's see here. Cece says, can you tell me how far is the rum cake factory from the port in Nassau? Thank you so much. Yes. So I actually have a video. I can't think of which one it is right now, where I show you how to get there. It is about a mile, less than a mile and a half from the port. I have walked it to and from a few times. I wouldn't recommend that now because the area is starting to become a little unsafe unless you're with a group. Now, there are a lot of tourists that will walk that direction. I personally would not walk it again. I would take a taxi. You can catch a taxi from the port. Last time I did it, I think it was $7 per person each way. So you could easily catch it to the rum cake factory, get your rum cakes. If you buy, I think, a 4-pack or more, you get a shot of rum from the bar next door. And then you can just catch it back to the ship. And a lot of times the taxi drivers will wait for you if you're going to be pretty quick picking up the rum cakes. They also have the rum cakes available now at the new port. If you guys are not familiar with Nassau, they did open up the new port where they have like stands and food and things out there, shops. They don't have an actual rum cake factory stand, but a lot of the little kiosks there will have the rum cake. I personally like to go there myself to get it and make sure it's fresh versus getting it from those kiosks, because I don't know how long it's been sitting out in the heat and then, what they do with it each day. So I'm weird about that. But if you want, yeah, you can catch a taxi. It's $7 per person, at least the last time I did it, from the cruise terminal. But it's like a mile and a half. You can walk it. I've walked it several times. I just would not if you're solo, because I don't think the area is as safe as it used to be. You can also order their cakes online too. Don't ask me how I know that. Welcome in, Norma. Let's see. MNT says we just came from San Juan and had a full day. Yeah, you can have a full day in San Juan. San Juan is amazing. Now, we've only been to San Juan by cruise ship twice, but we did a land. Actually, guys, if you go back to some of our earlier vlogs, one of our first land-based series as a family was Puerto Rico, and San Juan has some of the best food. So yeah, we have to make another trip back there soon. L. Carthen says, thanks for all the great content. You have a beautiful family. Any advice for solo cruisers? My first solo cruise is in April. First off, hope you booked early. So if you're a solo cruiser, I recommend booking early, because there are some cruise lines that offer solo pricing or solo cabins that are truly discounted off of paying that double occupancy. So the earlier you book, the better chance you are of getting those better deals for being a solo cruiser. I would say, make sure you're playing it safe while you're in port. I personally, I make sure that I limit the valuables that I have on me. I try not to draw attention to myself. I'm actually preparing for a trip here tomorrow. so, and I'm already thinking about, making sure that when I'm vlogging, that I'm in certain areas that, I feel safer in. I don't go out at night. I would say they do offer solo meetups on the ship. So I always say try to connect with at least one person on board that you can touch base with. But they will offer, most cruise lines offer some sort of solo meetup, sometimes every night, where you can go from like 6 to 7 and just meet up with other solo cruisers. But it really just depends on your style, because I'm the type of solo cruiser, I don't have to talk to anyone. So I don't really go to the solo meetups, but I know a lot of people who do. Definitely make sure you have some sort of connection on the ship so you can stay in touch with family, friends, so that they know where you are. I do keep a tracker on me at all times so that my kids and husband, they know exactly where to find me in the event of an emergency or anything like that. But yeah, just have a good time. There's a lot of activities to do. Don't ever feel like you're alone, because I honestly, like, I cruise a lot now solo, and I can tell you that every time I cruise, I'm running into people, making friends on board, and it's like you're never really alone. If you want to be alone, you can be alone, but you're really not alone. Let's see here. Michael says, can you let us know your loyal status for each cruise line? I don't know. I honestly don't keep track. I don't keep track of that because it's really not important. For me, it's not about the status for each cruise line, because I don't feel like they really give you that many perks. For me, it's about just trying to get on as many ships as possible. Just getting on as many ships as possible and visiting as many ports. So as far as the loyalty levels, I honestly don't even know those off the top of my head, because I don't really keep track of them. Lily says Princess also leaves Brooklyn. Yes. I have to think of which Princess ship. They don't leave there often though, do they? I have to look. Travels with PNB says MS. Yes, MS. Maryville is the only MSC. Okay, out of Brooklyn. Perfect. Anthony says MSC Seascape will sail from Galveston. Guys, it's so many ships in my brain, so I can't keep up. Thank you guys for keeping me in check. Yes, MSC Seascape is leaving from Galveston in November. Tamika Leonard, welcome in. Do you need a passport to cruise to Mexico and Jamaica? Okay, so good question. And again, thank you, Sean Crawford, for subscribing. We appreciate it. And we have 174 people watching. We appreciate you guys being here on this Monday midday cruise Q&A. I'm RacQuelle from MHFamilyAdventures, and I'm just here answering all of your cruise questions for about an hour or so on Mondays. So make sure you're subscribed and have the notification bell on, because I will pretty much go live every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, unless I am cruising. So stay tuned. I will be live. Will I be live next Monday? No, I won't be live next Monday. I think I have it scheduled, but I have to actually change that. So you won't catch me next Monday. Maybe you will. Maybe I'll keep it. I might cancel it last minute. We'll see. I might go live on location. How about that? But do you need a passport to cruise to Mexico and Jamaica? So a couple of things. At this point in time, I encourage everyone to get a passport. I just do, because of the state of what's going on with everything with new administration. I think it's just safer to have a passport. It's also safer to have a passport because if you ever run into a situation where you have an emergency on one of the islands, you're going to have a hard time getting back home to the United States if you don't have a passport. So I encourage you all to apply for your passports. But to answer your question, if you are a U.S. citizen and your cruise starts and ends at the same U.S. port, meaning it starts in Miami and it returns to Miami, and you're a U.S. citizen, and you don't stop at certain ports such as like Panama Canal, Barbados, Martinique, Guadeloupe, any of those West Indies islands, then you can, because it's a closed loop cruise. There are exceptions to that. There are some ports that you cannot, regardless of your cruise starting and ending at the same U.S. port and you being a U.S. citizen. So you have to ask your travel advisor. You need to make sure you check in with your cruise line to find out. So you would just need to have your valid license, which at this point, you need to have a real ID. I just did a video on that. A real ID is an enhanced driver's license or enhanced ID that is secure. and starting May 7th, they're going to require it for you to even fly to wherever you're picking up your cruise. So if you don't have it, if you don't have a real ID, then you're not going to be able to even fly to your cruise. You're going to need that and your original birth certificate for anyone 16 and older. So if you have a 16-year-old and they only have a birth certificate, you will not be able to board. They will need to have birth certificate and a state ID. Some cruise lines will allow their student ID, but for the most part, you need to have a state ID. That's a real ID. So to answer your question, no, you don't. If you're a U.S. citizen, your cruise starts and ends at the same U.S. port. If your cruise starts in Miami and ends in Port Canaveral for whatever reason, then it won't work. But yes, you can. But I encourage you to get a passport. Thank you so much, Phil and D. Thank you so much for being here. Sometimes it takes help. And if you guys don't know Phil and D, they're also travel advisors. So they kind of know the ins and outs of these things. And they're actually in Texas. So they said Mahogany Bay, Belize, and Mexico are on the longer sailings of Galveston. I knew there was something else. The Fox's Den, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Relish World, welcome in. Says, I'm late. Good afternoon. Sorry if this question was already asked. On Royal Caribbean, can you bring in soda and snacks inside your luggage? So to answer your question, Royal Caribbean, yes, you can pack snacks that are not open, like chips and cookies and things. You can pack those in your luggage. If you have sodas or bottled water, because Royal Caribbean will allow you to carry on one 12-pack of bottled water per cabin or a 12-pack of canned soda per cabin. And you can also bring on a bottle of wine per cabin. You cannot pack it in your luggage though. So if you pack it in your luggage and you check it with the porters, they will confiscate it and throw it away. They will not return it to you. If you're carrying on any drinks or anything like that, it has to be on your person when you check in at the cruise port. You can put it in a bag that you're going to check through the terminal, but you cannot put it in the bag for the porters to take because they will confiscate it. So yes, you can take on soda and snacks. Your snacks are fine to go in your bag, but your sodas will have to go with you through the terminal, through the X-ray, all of that. So welcome in, LaShonda. So much, the Fox's Den. G Fox said, make sure you hit that thumbs up. I appreciate that. Welcome in, See It With C. Good afternoon to you. Toya says, well, hey, when is your next cruise? It's coming up really soon. If you are a channel member, then you know exactly where I'm headed to. If you're not a channel member, just make sure you have the notification bell on because I will be going live soon with some details on where I'm going, what's going on. Welcome in, Keisha Reed, Belinda, welcome in. Let's see here. Now, this is a question that I won't be able to answer. Claudine says, I'm preparing for Hawaiian cruise on Carnival in November. Do you have any suggestions? I honestly don't because I have never been to Hawaii. It is on my to visit list. It'll happen soon. My issue with Hawaii is right now the only cruise line that is operating like the main islands is NCL. I am not a huge NCL fan. It's NCL Pride, which is also Pride of America, which is one of their older ships as well. I might eventually get on it, but right now that's the only one I'm personally not going to take. Thank you, Rone Myers, for subscribing. We appreciate that. I'm not going to, so a lot of times, like with Carnival, you're probably on at least a 10-night sailing, I'm guessing, and it's going to leave from San Francisco or some other place, and you're going to have a whole bunch of sea days and then maybe 2 or 3 port days. That's not my cruising style, so I have not been to Hawaii for that reason. When I do go to Hawaii on a cruise, it might just have to be Pride of America because that is the only ship that's doing all of the main islands there. And I personally would want to do that over having a whole bunch of sea days because I want to get there, see these places, and do that. But have a great time on your Hawaiian cruise. I'm so jealous. Hope to be there soon. So have a good time. Let's see here. Nancy says, question about Carnival Venezia cruising in March. In your opinion, does Venezia feel like a traditional Carnival vibe or force Italian experience? They did advertise Carnival Venezia, Carnival Firenze as Italian style. I can tell you that it seems like they're doing away with that somewhat. They don't even talk about it anymore. It feels Italian style because of the decor. They will have some Italian themed food. Like they'll have a new like deli spot that has like meatballs and sausage and things like that, which the other ships don't have. They'll have like one night where where they'll have like an Italian style festival, which is like games and activities for the family. And then they'll do the one Venetian mask night where you can make a Venetian mask on board if you get up early enough to do it, or you can bring one. People dress up for formal night. They wear the Venetian mask. The captain comes, they do a toast, but they don't give you any free champagne. And that's it. So really, it's still your same carnival vibe, but they've added those few elements. It doesn't feel forced, but it doesn't feel like what I think they wanted it to be with the Italian style and it being truly Italian themed. Other than like the decor is pretty Italian, but that's it. Thank you so much, M. Rosser. I appreciate that super chat. Greatly, greatly appreciate that. And I was chatting with her earlier, like, told you I'm never off. So I got to stay on the go, but I appreciate that. It definitely helps out our channel. But yeah, Carnival Venezia, yeah, you'll have a great time. I personally liked Carnival Venezia and Firenze. If you've ever cruised on Carnival Vista, Carnival Horizon, Carnival Panorama, it is pretty much the sister ship to those. So they look identical, except for the yellow Costa funnel that's still on there. Let's see here. Nancy says, not Nancy. Sorry, Keisha says, or is it Kesha? Just joining. So sorry if you answered this question. What are some new things going on for MSC World America? Okay, so MSC World America, if you guys don't know, this is MSC Cruises' newest cruise ship. If you guys aren't familiar with MSC, first off, MSC is a partner of ours. I've been on 8 or 9 MSC cruises. I personally like MSC. They offer an amazing value with drinks and Wi-Fi included. Currently, right now, through tonight, actually, kids sail free. So they offer an amazing value. And so MSC came to the US maybe 3 or 4 years ago. They are a European-based cruise line. And so some of the critiques and criticism that they received coming to the US was that it wasn't Americanized enough, which, you know, if it's a European cruise line, then it's a European cruise line, quite similar to me cruising on a Greek cruise line this past summer. It's Greek. So, I mean, that's what you kind of expect, but I get it. So they are trying to make things more Americanized in the sense of providing more dining options, because their other ships, pretty much you have the main dining room and you have the buffet. That's really it, unless you pay for specialty dining. MSC World America will have more casual dining options that are included, which is what, you know, we like to get on a ship and have those included casual dining options. They're also going to have more activities, such as they're going to have, oh my gosh, what is it called? Cliffhanger, which is a swing. So we love adventure. So they have this swing that swings you off the side of the ship. They're also going to have bumper cars. So just more activities on the ship than any of their other ships. Even like their MSC World Europa, they don't have some of these same features, although they're sister ships. So just a lot more inclusions for Americans than you're going to find if you go cruise on one of their ships abroad. And then I think their customer service is going to be a little bit different. They're still kind of rolling out what this is all going to look like. But again, I will have a sneak peek when I'm on board for the media sailing. So make sure you follow along, because I will be going live and explaining more in detail on what they're offering and sharing all of those with you. The ship just finished its last time trial or sea trials, so it'll be good to go for April. Let's see here. Sorry, I think this scrolled all the way down. Sorry if I'm scrolling through your I'm trying to get back to where I was. I don't know where I was. I think I skipped some other questions. Did I skip these questions? Let's see here. Michael asks, have you chronicled a journey? Have I thought about a journey too from Ohio, from New York, New Jersey as a pre-post cruise travel via, is it Acela or Amtrak? I have not. Yeah, we're working on some new things for our channel. I have not considered Amtrak. Fantasy Travel by Sherry says, what do you use to film, camera or phone? And are you able to have a good time on the cruise with equipment? I love your vlogs. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So I honestly, I balance what I vlog. You guys pretty much what you see is what I vlog. So I don't like sit with equipment with me. If you ever catch me on a cruise ship, more than likely, I don't even have a camera in my hand. But I primarily use a GoPro 360, which is actually sitting right here, a small camera. I use my GoPro. For most of my content, I also use an Insta, and I only have this stuff here because I'm getting ready to take a trip. I also have an Insta 360. I think you guys always ask me, how do I get those drone-like shots? It's with this and an invisible selfie stick. And then I use my phone for vertical content for social media. So I don't carry equipment. So you might see other vloggers on board. They have big cameras, they have microphones, they have lights. I don't do all that. So it may impact my quality of my videos, but I like to keep it simple, and I don't want to walk around with cameras and heavy things. So pretty much Insta 360, GoPro, and right now I'm recording or doing this live stream from my iPhone 15. So yeah, keep it simple. Let's see here. Welcome in, Game Changer. Appreciate you being here. Ron, that's my husband, says they do have rum cake outside the port. Yeah, we know. Let's see here. Kendra says, you are a wealth of information. One day I hope I had this knowledge of the ports. I think I'm 5 cruises and 3 lines in. That's awesome. That is awesome. Welcome in, Travel Yes We See. Appreciate you being here. Landon C says, I had to go back to Puerto Rico to do a land-based trip. Yeah, absolutely. The food is so good there. So good. Marlo, welcome in, says, I just learned. Thank you so much, Lucina. Appreciate that super chat. Guys, super chats, any of those things, it really does help support our channel because we just pour it right back in with our travels and our vlogs and our content. So we greatly appreciate that. Marlo says, I just learned that if you stay on the floor at the spa that you get free services. Do all cruise lines do this? No, that's not accurate either. So there are, like Carnival, I'm thinking of, they have certain categories that are on whatever deck the spa is that are designated spa cabins. It's not all of the cabins on that deck. So you have to be booked in a spa cabin in order to get that access. So for instance, Carnival, you're looking at a 4S category, which is an interior spa cabin. You're looking at a 6S, which is a ocean view spa. And then you're also looking at an 8S or 8P for spa. If you don't have one of those, so let's say you're on the deck where the spa is, and you're booked in like a 4C category or whatever, that is not a spa. So you will know that you have spa access because they will probably leave a note or something in your cabin. Usually you'll have a robe in your cabin. You'll have special like spa lotions and soaps and things in your cabin. And they'll let you know that, yes, you get discount on spa services and you have access to the thermal spa, which is only available for the first 2 guests in the cabin. So I get a lot of guests that book spa cabins and they might have 3 or 4 adults. The thermal spa pass is only available for 2. And not all cruise lines even offer thermal spa, or all cruise ships. So you just have to definitely check. But yeah, just because you're on the floor with the spa does not mean you have access. Relish says, taking a cruise to Bahamas without a passport, can I go into port? Good question. So again, get a passport if you can. Highly encourage it. Again, if you're a U.S. citizen, starting and ending at the same U.S. port, you can go to the Bahamas without a passport, and you can get off the ship without a passport. So that's, a lot of people feel like I can cruise without a passport, but I can't get off the ship. You can get off the ship without a passport. In fact, it's not, most people leave their passports on the ship when they get off anyways. So leave them in the safe, but because you don't want to lose it or something happen to it while you're in port. So yeah, you can get off the ship without a passport. All right, got a few more minutes to answer a few more last minute questions. Let's see here. I'm kind of just scrolling, trying to see let's see here. I'm sorry, this thing keeps scrolling by and I think I'm skipping over some questions. So if I'm skipping you, I do apologize. If you could leave that in the comments, like this system is just acting weird. Let's see here. See if I've answered this. Cruising Charlie, welcome in, says, I've taken 9 cruises so far and I just booked my first solo cruise. I'm a little more of an introvert. Any tips? I'm an introvert. People don't believe it. If you meet me, you'll be like, yeah, she's truly an introvert. I am really an introvert. I mean, just do what makes you feel comfortable. You don't ever have to really talk to anyone. I would say if you're an introvert and you don't want, the biggest thing for me is I personally, if I'm cruising solo, I don't really care to sit at the same table with other families and things. So it's important for me to, as soon as I get on the ship, to go see where my table is. And if it's at like a table where there's like 8 people, that means they just probably stuck me there. I will ask, hey, I'm a solo traveler. Can I have a table to myself? Or, so for me, that's probably the most important thing being an introvert is I don't care to necessarily eat with others and have conversation over dinner. So I would say definitely try that. But just do whatever you feel comfortable with because people won't bother you on the ship unless you want to be bothered or if so you don't feel like you have to talk to people and things because I have some cruises where I'm chit-chatting, I'm at the bar, I'm this and that, and there's other cruises where I'm like to myself, deck chair, or in my cabin or whatever. Just do whatever feels comfortable with you. But there are, like I said, solo meetups. There's opportunities for you to meet with others, to do things that way. But yeah, don't feel like you ever have to talk to people, which that sounds crazy, doesn't it? On the go with Yellow says, yeah, I don't do the solo meetups either. Yeah. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. I'm just kind of scrolling to make sure I'm getting to some of these questions. Unlearn and Eat Travel. Welcome in. Says, are there any challenges when it's just you and Jo Marie traveling? Not really. I would say the challenges, not really challenges. Like I cruise with each child individually, and I do a lot of solo, and we do, of course, family cruises. I would say with Jo Marie, the challenge for me is that I don't have the boys to take her where she needs to be. So like if it's time to go to the kids club, I have to kind of make sure that I'm balancing the times of getting her where she needs to go and picking her up with what I want to do because I'm never going to just leave her in the cabin by herself. And I'm not, so like by the time kids club is over at 10, if I wanted, which if you guys follow the vlogs, I don't stay up late. If I wanted to do something late, I can't because she's done with the kids club at 10 or I pay for her to stay longer. Not really any challenges though, but I cruise differently when I'm cruising with her, because she is so young and she's female, so I may not do as many like third party excursions. We might do more of the ship excursions. It just really depends, but yeah, I think it's pretty much the same as when I travel solo with her. I just have to make sure that I'm mindful of doing what she wants to do. For instance, when we just did our Allure of the Seas vlog, you guys probably noticed we got in the pool on embarkation day, and we normally never do that. But I have to also make sure that I'm balancing, creating content, getting the information to you all, but also making sure that the kids are doing what they want to do, and that they're having fun and enjoying their vacation because it is vacation for them. So just being in the mindset of I might have to not do what I want to do to make sure that they're having a good time, which is perfectly fine. That's what we're supposed to do as parents. Game Changer says, is it true that Celebrity is now doing the loyalty match from Royal Caribbean? That is true. But the way it works, it's not a complete loyalty status match. The way it'll work is if you do the status match, I forgot what they're calling it, you will get the perks from the other cruise line, but you don't get the points. So if you are Diamond Plus or Diamond on Royal Caribbean, whatever perks you get for Royal Caribbean for being Diamond, you will get that on Celebrity, but you don't get, those points won't roll over. So if you're not Diamond or whatever the status is for Celebrity, you're not going to be Diamond for Celebrity, but you will get the perks that you normally would get for Royal Caribbean, if that makes sense. So it is true to an extent. It's not going to be a smooth rollover of the status, but you get the perks from the individual cruise lines on your sailing. Karen says, do you recommend traveling with both the passport book and card? No, you don't need both. The passport card, honestly, you don't really need that. That's more so if you're flying like from the US to like Mexico, you're not going to be able to use your passport card to fly to Europe. It's really just, flying into Canada, flying into Mexico, you can't use that. So I don't even have a passport card. I just have a passport book, I think. So yeah, I wouldn't travel with both. I would keep one in a safe place at home and one with you. But the passport card's really just identification, and then you can use it going to Canada and Mexico. Let's see here. M. Rosser says YouTube did not notify me that you were going live. Yeah, it does that sometimes. Another question. Carmen says, glad to catch you live. My family and I've been watching your vlogs since 2023, you guys. are great. Would love to join you guys on a group cruise one day. Yeah, if you're interested in joining us on a group cruise, so we host group cruises. We do two different types of cruises. We do a group cruise where, we'll have planned meetups, we'll do excursions together, things like that. Usually it'll be the whole family, or like we have our sisters cruising abroad, which is my sisters and I hosting a girls trip. But we also do sail with me, and the sail with me's are more so I'm sharing that I'm going to be on board this ship. If you want to join me, book with our agency. It's really for like those do cruisers or people that feel uncomfortable cruising solo, that want to experience a cruise line but want to have that comfort of knowing there's someone else on board with them, or that we can meet up and have drinks or go to dinner, whatever. So we do offer the sail with me as well, but you can find those on our website, majoradventurestravel.com, and you can see our group cruises. I have not listed the sail with me yet, my sail with me yet. I have, I think, 2 or 3 for this year, but I will get those updated on there. The Will to Travel, welcome in, says the best cruise line for kids outside of Disney, Carnival and Royal, for sure. It depends on your kids' cruising style. Royal's a little bit milder than Carnival. Like our kids really like the vibe of Carnival because it's not, I feel like with Royal, you have the kids' activities, but with Carnival, it's like, I feel like there's more family activities. So like, I feel like the deck parties and things can be for the whole family. I feel like there's a lot more family things going on with Carnival than Royal, but Royal, they have those amazing ships. They have, if you're on Icon of the Seas, you have the water park. They have beautiful ships. They have the boardwalk area with the carousel, things like that. So you really can't go wrong with either Carnival or Royal. Kendra says, where do we join your channel? I think when this video posts, there'll be a link in the description. And I think if you're looking on your phone right now, it should say like under where you share, like, subscribe, all of those things, there should be a button that says join. And we do offer channel memberships, and it just gives you some exclusive access. Our memberships are 99 cents to $4.99 per month. And it just gives you access so you kind of know where we're going, where we're traveling before we publish that to everyone else. We might have some channel member only videos. Like right now, there's a couple out there where I did a 24-hour New Orleans trip with Dice. So that only went to channel members. So we do post some of those things. So Daphne, welcome in. All right, guys, 5 more minutes and I have to go because I got to get tagged. Philinte says your secret is safe with me and the rest of the 170. You know what? I will go ahead and share because I've already shared with channel members. They kind of know what's going on. So yeah, I am preparing to travel to Rio de Janeiro tomorrow. I'm doing, I'm going to call it MHFam by Land and Sea, where I'm going to share with you all the things you can do in Rio de Janeiro before you take a short cruise out of Rio de Janeiro. So those of you asking when my next cruise is, my next cruise will be this week. I will be on an MSC ship. But before I get on that ship, I will be exploring Rio de Janeiro and kind of taking you guys along with me. And whenever I put that vlog together, it's going to be by Land and Sea, showing you everything that you can do. Thank you so much, Jessica, for becoming a channel member. We appreciate that. So it's going to share with you guys everything that I do in Rio de Janeiro, plus what happens on the cruise ship. So it'll be interesting new series. And if it does well, I already have some plans for some other Land and Sea cruise vlogs that will kind of show you things that you can do pre-cruise at the different ports. So Charlene says, I love MSC's new commercials. Yes, they are really working those commercials. The Will to Travel says, we've done every major line except Carnival. Oh, great point about MSC. How did your kids like the kids club? They love them. So our kids would rank the kids clubs. Now, the boys, they're pretty much done with the kids clubs, teens clubs. But Joe Marie, or when they were cruising them, they would always rank Carnival first, then MSC, then Disney, then Royal Caribbean. We've only been on Disney once, but they ranked it. Royal Caribbean's kind of their last pick for the kids clubs. Let's see here. Sorry, just scrolling. T. Will says, have only been on Harmony of the Seasons Carnival Celebration. Looking to Celebrity Beyond. You'll love it. Celebrity, if you like a laid back vibe. I did not sell Celebrity Beyond yet, but I was on Celebrity Ascent, which is the sister ship to it. Amazing food, great service, amazing show. I really have nothing wrong to say about Celebrity Cruises. My latest vlog was Celebrity Silhouette, which is one of their older ships. Still had an amazing time. Now, I will tell you, you'll see this in later vlogs for Celebrity Silhouette. I didn't care for the specialty dining as much, but Celebrity Beyond, beautiful ship. Food, I mean, again, I'm saying this based on Celebrity Ascent. They are sister ships. I would assume that they're similar. I say go for it, especially if you enjoyed Harmony of the Seas and Carnival Celebration. Beyond is one of their newer ships as well. Phil and D, yeah, because Phil and D, you guys were on board. It says it's a bit more of a mature crowd, but they also know how to have a great time. Yes, great food, top-notch entertainment. Yeah. Cruise Craze family, welcome in from Australia. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Daniel, thank you, says Princess leaves out of Brooklyn for some New England cruises. Yes, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Deborah says, how does Holland compare to Princess and Celebrity? They're pretty similar. Holland, I think you're going to have more of an older crowd than Princess and Celebrity. I think Celebrity is really starting to attract more of a middle-aged, younger crowd compared to Holland American Princess. But they're all mid-level luxuries, what they're considered. So they're classified in the same class of ships or same class of service, I guess, mid-luxury. So you're going to have very similar experiences with entertainment, food, things like that. I would say that ship-wise, Princess and Celebrity probably have Holland America ships beat. Holland America tends to keep smaller ships because they are like Alaska is their big thing. So Holland America, they do a lot of Alaskan cruises. So they design their ships based on that. So you're not going to find like really big ships with Holland America or all of the same amenities that you might find on like Sun Princess or Star Princess or Celebrity Ascent or the new Celebrity ship that's coming out. Think of the name. No, what is the name of that ship? Comes out in November. So yeah, so as far as service, food, entertainment, they're pretty much the same, but you're going to have higher tech ships with Princess and Celebrity, more modern ships, I should say, with those. Adrian says, I always left my passport in the safe until I discovered that ports have a desk kiosk where you can get your passport stamped. You can do that. A lot of people don't realize that you can get your passport stamped when you go to port. I caution you on doing that though. And this is why. So as many ports as I've been to, I've never gotten my passport stamped. And this is why. Because if you ever travel abroad, if you ever decide to take a cruise abroad, or you fly abroad or what have you, you will have to have so many pages on your passport that's empty so that they can stamp when you enter and when you leave. If you cruise a lot, like we cruise a lot, if I literally went to every port and got it stamped every time I was in port, when I'm ready to, now you can order a passport book that has more pages, but if I had the standard passport book, and let's say I've been on 10 cruises already this year and I've gotten stamps, whenever I get ready to go abroad, I might have to renew my passport or get a new one because I won't have enough pages for them to stamp. And if you don't have enough pages to be stamped, they won't let you in. So I never even advise people to get their passport stamped in port, especially if you're like a person that only travels once a year and you don't go often, then yes, absolutely. It's a great way to memorialize your trip. I get it. But if you are a frequent traveler, frequent cruiser, I wouldn't advise to get your passport stamped at every port because if you decide to go abroad, you have to make sure you have some blank pages. Let's see here. Oh, Take a Trip is confirming. Yes, welcome and Take a Trip says, hello, RacQuelle. That is true. Perks, not points. That is it exactly. Referring to the loyalty status conversion between Celebrity and Royal Caribbean. Let's see. Take a Trip says, for upcoming creators, can you talk a little bit about how you became a MSC partner? If you're able to share some pointers, thank you. Oh, okay, that's a good question. So, if you guys don't know, we partner with a few different cruise lines. Honestly, it's really based on content. Now, I am a top salesperson with MSC, as well as Carnival. Don't partner with Carnival yet, but truly, you can become, if you are a creator, you can talk to the media or public relations department of cruise lines, different places to see if they're willing to work with you. Now, in some cases, we've had cruise lines or places to reach out to us because they've either come across one of our videos or they see our content on social media or what have you. So they'll reach out to us and, just kind of ask, what would we charge for this? Or, they'd be willing to offer something complimentary for us to publish something. Some cases, it's us actually reaching out to the cruise lines to say, hey, here's some of our content. Would you like us to create more content for you? Or, can we partner somehow? So MSC, we've worked with them the last, I don't know, maybe four MSC cruises. And so it's just like an ongoing partnership. You just have to really reach out. But before you do that, make sure you're in a place to do that. And it's not to say that our channel has a whole lot of subscribers or a whole lot of views, but we get pretty good engagement. And really that's what they're looking at. They're looking at the engagement of your viewers, not necessarily that you're someone that goes viral or what have you. They're also looking at what you're presenting. So I think for us, what helps us to land some of these deals would be that I provide a lot of information. And so the cruise lines, they like to see that there are creators that aren't just creating, not that there's anything wrong with it, that aren't just creating, quick, aesthetically pleasing, quick reels about, what you can do on board. They want people that are actually giving information and things. So I think that's kind of been the benefit for us. But yeah, you can just email if you go on to like any of the cruise lines websites and just type in like contact or media. Usually there's like a media at carnival.com or something like that, or creators at, and you can just email them, introduce yourself, maybe share your media kit. If you don't have a media kit, you would want to create one, share your media kit. And sometimes you'll get a response, sometimes you don't. You can also reach out via social media, TikTok, Instagram, through their direct messaging and ask, how can I, speak to someone about partnering? I can tell you that we've probably submitted more than we've gotten responses for. So it's one of those things where you just have to keep at it. And once you get to a place where you feel comfortable making those requests, you can do that. It doesn't always work. Some opportunities are like comped trips or comped cruises or comped opportunities. Sometimes it's paid opportunities where they're going to pay you to produce content. But just so you guys know, any content that you see from us that is sponsored or hosted, it is still our honest opinion. And that's something that we've made sure to, and most of the time when you are working with cruise lines, they tell you they want your authentic opinion. They do not force you to say anything or do anything. And so I still keep it real regardless. And I've always said that if it came to it and something was just completely terrible and I had to say that, if I have to repay whatever I was gifted or whatever they paid me, I would just do that, because I'm not going to ever lie about my experience or what happened to suit something. Because when it comes down to it, I have a business to run as well. So if I'm out here sharing content and I'm not being honest about that, and then I have people reaching out to me to get booked, then they get on this sailing or whatever, and they're like, hey, this was complete opposite of what you said. I don't want to be in a position like that. So yeah, just reach out when when you're at a level. Now keep in mind that a lot of times these cruise lines, they're looking for, like I said, engagement. They want to see that you have a good following. They want to see the quality of your content, things like that. And each cruise line, each company is different. It just depends. So yeah, good luck. Let's see. I love how a lot of you guys are answering questions. Let's see here. Priceless says, question with Santorini. Having an earthquake a few weeks ago, did you receive any support changes for your group cruise? So if you guys don't know, we do have a group cruise going back to Greece this year. I was in Greece in August of 2024, and we have a group going with us. We have not received any port changes, but there are some other sailings that have. Now, our cruise is not until August, so things could change. But I do know of some other cruise lines that have had some minor port changes and are avoiding Santorini at the moment. Let's see here. Cruise Craze Family says, we have a 3-day cruise without the kids. We'll take it. Take whatever you can. Absolutely. Let's see. Lynn says, hi, RacQuelle. Enjoy watching your journey. A lot of great info. I'm doing a 29-day. Wow. It says, with my 2 kids on a Luminosa, I want your job too, guys. This is work. People don't realize it. It's a lot of work. It really pays off though, because like I said, our agency is doing extremely well. We are so thankful for everyone that, books through our travel agency. that help support us. We get paid on social media. If you guys did not catch my how much I got paid on YouTube, be sure to check that out. I do give some tips for those creators that are up and coming or that are looking to try to, get monetized and make some money on YouTube. So we get paid different avenues. So it's truly a blessing. It's a lot of work though. Lillian Fox says, have you ever tried an inspirational cruise? I have not. I think you're talking about a chartered cruise. I actually had another subscriber send me some information on another cruise. I have not, but I'd be willing to take one. Let's see here. On the go with yellow, very good point. She says, I've heard that if the place you're getting its stamp isn't official, it will invalidate your passport. That is correct. Usually I have heard of a couple of instances where they don't have the official passport stamp and they stamp it. It can invalidate your passport if they're actually monitoring and looking closely whenever you go get another stamp. I have heard that. So yeah, I wouldn't do it. Kendra says, that's fun. They stamp it. When I drove into Canada, customs laughed at me. Yeah. But like I'm saying, if you don't travel a lot or if you do and you're willing to get additional pages for your passport or renewing it or what have you, then yeah, it's fun to have. It's nice to be able to look back to see all of your stamps. All right. I think we are at the end of the chat. Again, I do appreciate you guys being here. We have 152 watching. I hope by the time I exit out of this video that we have 152 likes or more. If you could drop a comment on this video, share it out with somebody else. Now, I do have the Monday Midday Cruise Q&A scheduled for next Monday. We'll kind of see where I am. I will be in Rio de Janeiro at that time. If I can go live, I will. If I don't, I'll cancel it out that morning. So if you can't catch me next Monday, I'll be live again the following Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern, where I will answer your cruise questions live. So feel free to, turn that notification bell on, make sure you're subscribed because I will be going live. But appreciate you guys popping in. I had to get packed to head out. Appreciate all of your support. Please continue to help us reach 50K subscribers by the end of this year. That is our ultimate goal. Next cruise vlog coming out. If I can get it recorded today, I will have a Carnival cruise tips for first-time Carnival cruisers coming out tomorrow. Hopefully, if I can get it done. And on Friday, there should be a premiere of Key West. So on board Celebrity Silhouette Key West vlog. So stay tuned for that. And I hope you guys have a great Monday and appreciate you guys chatting with me. Take care.